guys. It's been a hot minute since I recorded an update, so I thought that I would come on and just talk briefly, hopefully somewhat briefly, about prep. I'm 48 weeks in to prep now, and I've been on a diet break for the last 4 to 6 weeks, possibly 8 weeks, because we are in lockdown. Actually, it would be about 8 weeks at least, because I think we've been in lockdown for about 8 weeks. Shows have been pushed back date-wise. So there are dates now in November, but I'm no longer announcing when shows are going to happen because things are just so uncertain at the moment. That it's a possibility that this season will just get cancelled outright. It really depends on how things progress moving forward. And it's the 24th of August now, and our lockdown has been extended to the end of September. So I honestly don't think it's going to happen. And I'm not being pessimistic. I feel like I'm just being realistic about it. I work in the music industry, and it's a performance industry, and physique competitions fall in under the performance space because you're on a stage in front of people, there's lighting and sound crews, you have an audience, you have heaps of competitors, and then also people working backstage, hair and makeup, photography, that kind of thing. So there's a whole crew involved. It's very much like a stage production. And I just don't, considering how long it took for the performance space to really open back up after the initial lockdown in 2020, even if we were to come out of lockdown at the beginning of October, the first show is on the 30th of October for ICN in New South Wales, and that's the Central Coast show, and I just don't think it's realistic that it would happen. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, and I'm open to being wrong. So the shows that I'm looking at are early and later. It's 7th and the 20th of November. There's no point in being secretive about the dates because it could change. So those are the 2 shows that I'm looking at. I am only just going to do one of those, and it'll probably be the 20th of November show, which is the stage show. The 7th of November is South Coast, which I would like to do. So I might do that. I don't know. I'm just kind of over it at this point, and not over prep. I've decided that I'm just going to prep. I want to get stage ready, and I'm giving myself till the beginning of December to do that. I just want to achieve that goal. I want to get stage lean, and I'm going to just get some photos done. Whether I compete in a show or not, I just can't rely on that anymore. I can't hold back for that anymore. And also, by the time even December comes around, I will have been prepping for 14 months, and it'll come to a point where I have to stop. So I'm giving myself to the beginning of December. Once December starts, then I'm reversing out, and just giving myself that time frame, and I'm just giving myself that goal of getting stage lean, because that way I know exactly what it means to be stage lean, to be stage ready. And then I will look at competing again in about 2 years' time. So I'm thinking season A 2024. That gives me 2 years to build. to build some serious muscle, because I do need to spend some more time building muscle if I really want to have a competitive physique. And I would like to have a competitive physique, so that's what I'm going. So those are my goals now. I just want to do what I planned to do initially when I started prep, which was to be stage ready, to get stage ready, and now I'm just going to work towards achieving that goal. I'm not going to let the virus and the pandemic and all of that uncertainty, I'm not going to let that delay things any further. I don't need shows in order to have a competitive body, and I don't need shows to have a super lean physique for a moment. So I'm going to organize a photo shoot, and that'll be it. If a show does come up that I can compete in, then I will. I need to make sure that I have the money, say, put aside for that as well. That is a thing. Because some other things are happening in my life at the moment. So I've got to keep that kind of thing in mind. And yeah, that's basically where it's at. The gyms are still shut, of course, because Sydney's in a hard lockdown at the moment. So a lot of Sydney, thankfully where I live, we don't have a curfew at the moment, but I wouldn't be surprised if that gets instilled at some point. A lot of Sydney does have a curfew. We have restricted movement at the moment, so we can't leave a 5-kilometre radius of our area or our local government area. There are certain circumstances that will allow that, but we are restricted. The gyms have been closed since the last couple of months, so I'm training at home. I might shoot some footage of my setup actually, just to share that. I'm looking at buying more weights because of course I am. I have about 110 kilos of weights at the moment, and I'd like to get some additional things like a few more weight plates, because I bought this one set and they're quite thick. They're like plastic and they're quite thick in diameter. So I've also got some other like just steel plates that are thinner in diameter, so I'm gonna look at getting some more of those at smaller weights. And I'm thinking also a weighted vest, because it's something that I can use for my cardio as well. Otherwise, my home is my gym and my office, so I'm doing everything at home. I don't really see anyone. I'm not going anywhere. My brother lives around the corner and he's the one person that I see on a regular basis. Otherwise, I'm single and I'm living alone and I'm looking after myself and just taking it day by day, because that's all I can do, and just trying to treat myself the best way. Honestly, the only way I know how to get through this is to come through it unscathed. So it's a lot to go through by yourself. I miss cuddles. Miss cuddles. But I'm determined to get through this in the healthiest way possible. So I haven't drunk anything now for almost a year. It'll be a year in the beginning of October, and I'm going to keep that up indefinitely. And because of that, I'm really determined to not let myself fall into any bad self-sabotaging behaviors. So I'm learning a lot about myself during this time. And through that, I'm determined, because this is such a ripe time for self-destruction, self-sabotage, that kind of thing. I'm really determined to get through this without falling apart, and by treating myself the best way I ever have in my life. And I can honestly say that I am doing that. Is it easy? Fuck no. There's nothing easy about being by yourself all the time. I mean, I'm good by myself most of the time anyway. Like, I'm a very solitary person. I'm a very self-reliant, autonomous kind of individual. I largely have been anyway. I've always been good in my own, well, not always good, but I've spent a lot of time in my own space anyway. This is the happiest I've ever been by myself, which is funny when you think about what's going on, but that's also very much a conscious decision and conscious actions for it to be like that. I don't know. I'm learning from my past and I'm trying to do this differently. So I'm determined to get through this, coming out better for it on the other side, whenever the fuck that comes around. So, but that being said, I also rely heavily on prep at the moment. I rely on my training. I rely on that structure and routine because I know myself, because if I didn't have that, it would be easy for me to fall apart. So, well, maybe not easy, but it would make it easier for me to fall apart. So I'm really determined not to do that, and keeping myself busy works in my favor. I don't do well with too much idle time. So my days are structured. I pose in the morning, I work throughout the day, train in the afternoon, eat dinner, and chill out in the evening. Otherwise, it's pretty much Groundhog Day for everyone here in New South Wales, particularly in Sydney. I can't speak for other parts of regional New South Wales, but in Sydney, it's very much Groundhog Day. I lose track of the days. It's only because of work that I know if it's a weekday or not. Otherwise, the weekends, I don't know, every day is the same. So, but yeah, I'm just trying to just making sure that I do stuff that brings me some joy. There's a podcast that I love that I listen to. I just binge listen to it at the moment because that makes me laugh, and watching silly stuff that makes me laugh, and keeping my news consumption very minimal, and even some social media I'm keeping to a minimum as well, because shit gets dark and there's a lot of angry people out there, and I have to look after myself because I'm by myself. So I have to show up for me every day, and therefore that means creating healthy boundaries. And some of those boundaries include Facebook, and some of those boundaries also include just muting some people, because I don't need the vitriol. It doesn't help me get through my day. So, that's it for now. So prep continues. I will of course continue training regardless. But I'm going to continue with prep because for me this doesn't feel like a waste. I'm learning a lot about what it actually means to be in prep, what it means to be a physique competitor. And going through this season, I will at least come into the next season knowing exactly what I have to do. So what's involved, what money I need to put aside, what time I need to put aside, what the financial demands, time demands, energy demands, that kind of thing. So there is, even if the shows don't happen, it's not a complete loss. I've gained a lot of experience, so if it was a video game, my XP level would be way higher than when I started. I don't play many games these days, but yeah, you get the you get the analogy. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to end that here. I hope you all are staying safe and keeping well, and just remember to find the simple joys in life at the moment. I feel like those simple things that can bring us happiness and that don't come with any degree of harm. Like, I love drinking and there's nothing wrong with it, but just don't do it to a point where you're hurting yourself. That's all. Just like with anything, moderation is key. Anyway, I love you all, regardless. I don't care if, it doesn't matter if we talk every day or if we haven't talked in a while or whatever. I just send you all love. We'll get through this. Because one comfort in change is that it's a constant. So we won't be stuck here forever. And on that note, I'm gonna leave this here. See ya.